Welcome back to this week's episode. We are going to be chatting today about listening, which is quite ironic, really, because we're going to be talking about listening and doing the opposite of what we're talking about. But we felt it on our hearts too that it's a very important section topic per
Mm,
se for in your walk with Christ, just because I feel like it's so easy to just get caught up in talking, caught up in praying, caught up in you speaking and not actually just sitting there and just like when last did you ever sit there for a period of time and just listen
yeah,
to God's voice? Um, you know. So yeah, we're gonna kick it off with a verse.
yeah. So in Proverbs 18, it's verse 13, and it says, "To answer before listening, that is folly and shame."
Mm,
And it's such a powerful verse. It literally emphasizes how important listening is, and also like when you listen, you concentrate and you process,
mm,
and it's not just like blurting out whatever comes to your mind. It's not like having the first word, having the last word, just talking. You actually listen, you take in what you're hearing, you process it. And so to answer before listening, that is folly and shame.
mm,
And I think like we have done a episode on how to hear God, which it links obviously to listening because you
yeah.
listen to God, but there's also such like listening is so wide. You can listen in your community. There's like such power in not just being the person who talks. And
Mm,
obviously, if you have wisdom to share, share your wisdom. It's not like okay, you mustn't talk at all, but there's such power in actually listening to people as well and making people feel that they're actually heard
mm.
because if you like you in a relationship you actually have to listen to the person so
Hopefully you enjoy listening to the person, but
so yeah, it's not only just listening to God but
mm,
listening to those around you and the community. And so yeah, that's what we thought to
mm.
talk on.
Also, I think it kind of works and goes in with listening to yourself as well. Like, when you have those gut feelings, which Holy Spirit, um, but and it's like actually listening to that
Mm,
that instinct of rather than just but listening is such a powerful thing because I think listening goes with observing and observation. When if you've ever been in a group discussion in a group of people and you actually don't speak,
mm,
the things you pick up just from sitting there listening to the tones, the words that are spoken, the actions, the body language, everything, you be surprised with how much you can learn and
yeah.
how much you can pick up. So it's like, and I think that's such a powerful thing to do. And I think sometimes we get so like let's be honest, I love talking. Okay, who doesn't love talking? Okay, maybe some people, but too much. But we're learning. But it is listening is such a, and I think it's more just the listening to God because I think I'm guilty of this of how my prayer life I need to listen more. Like
Mm,
just sitting there like there's times where I actually just like even in my car instead of um blasting music and it's worship music because that's pretty much what my playlist consists of.
yep.
But instead of blasting music and singing along, because yeah, that's great, but actually just to sit in the stillness and listen and hear,
Yeah,
and be like God. And even if you ask God, like, hey, like, what do you want me to know? What do you want to show me right now? And then just keep quiet. Keep quiet. And if something comes to mind, pray about it, or just keep quiet and
mm,
trust me, like He'll speak and it'll be so much more louder than because when
yeah,
you trying to like if I'm talking and
yeah,
over you and whatever, I'm not gonna hear what you're saying. And God just needs to whisper. He doesn't have to shout at us,
mm.
but sometimes you need to shut up so you can hear him. Which I think is such a, but also in
Yeah,
that verse, going back to that verse of like the listening of like how in someone's, if you've gotten a fight or something or something's happened or someone's wronged you, whatever it may be, don't just act,
mm,
ask God, listen to God, relax, and don't be so quick to anger and
yeah,
don't be so quick to react and be like, oh, I want to hurt you or I want to get you back or no, like because often God's going to give you the right words to say, but you
yeah,
actually need to stop and speak to him and
yeah.
listen to him before acting. Because I think often people act before listening.
Mm.
And I think it should be the other way
Yeah,
around.
you should listen first. And I think in our world today, like with friendships or like a romantic relationship, whatever it is, a lot of the time there's such a like things go wrong, and a lot of the reason is because you don't listen. You're not actually listening to the other person. You trying to get your say, and you trying to like
Trying to
almost
defend yourself.
yeah, you're trying to be heard, but in trying to be heard, you're not actually hearing them. So there's such like listening is such an important like key in the communication, because everyone's like communication is key, yeah, but communication
two-way
consists
street.
of talking and
Yeah.
it's not just talking. So like listening, you actually have to listen.
You have to have both.
Yeah.
In the communication, so you have to have both, because it's like you can't just sit there and listen, because that's not communicating. You have to talk, but you can't, but you can't just talk all it.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. They work hand in hand, and that's actually so like that's such a good way of thinking of it and looking at it, because it's like, it's like, even now I'm lost for words, and that's not doesn't happen very often.
We're listening,
yeah.
But yeah, because so many like issues, like even if you're not thinking of like your communication with God, if you're just thinking in the worldly, like what's happening around you, your friendships, your things, so many issues form because people don't feel like you're listening to them. And so like there's such a power in listening. And like if for someone who doesn't have like if someone feels they don't have anyone to talk to, whatever, it's because no one actually wants to listen to them. They feel like no one wants to listen to them. If you can go and you can sit with someone, you can be that person that listens to them. Like sometimes people don't even need like you to talk. They just want someone to listen.
They need like, rant. So yeah, you just need to listen.
So there's such a power in listening, rather like obviously talking. There's so much power in talking, but specifically about listening as well. It's not just about talking. They have to balance each other out.
If you think about like how many times if someone asked you, you've met someone or like you've seen someone and they're like, oh hey, how are you? And then you're like, so if I had to like ask Sam, be like, hey, how are you? And you had to answer me,
I'm good, thanks, and you?
That didn't work out much.
I'm good. Is that what you wanted me to say?
I wanted to speak more, but scratch that. But know how often is someone or ask you a question, not even ask you how you are, but like, oh, like what are you doing right now? What are you studying? And then they're looking at you, but they're not. You can see they're not listening. They just they don't care. They how much
you can
that like
see it in their eyes.
Hurts. It kind of like you like. It doesn't really hurt, like you're not like I want to go cry, but like you're like, oh, like just don't ask me then. If you don't care, don't ask me. Like, and I feel like it's the same way. Like now, imagine that person really needed to talk that day.
Yeah,
act like you care, like try care. But it's such a. I feel like that's such a representation of how listening actually does affect people as well, and how important it is. And just listening to, because there's also like you were saying just now about listening to someone else's side when you're trying to defend yourself or whatever, but you actually got to hear them. Don't just and try and understand them. Don't just listen, because I can listen, I can hear you speaking, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going in, and it doesn't mean I could be shutting it off subconsciously in my head, being like, I can't, no, because I'm so focused on trying to get my point across that I'm not actually hearing what you're saying. So try and like actually understand and put them in their shoes and put them in that perspective of see their perspective. Because that's actually more what listening means. It's hearing and understanding what the words are, not just the word, not just hearing the words, but the understanding as well. And also like it's the same thing with God. Like when you hear God speak, like for example, so I've been wanting to do this thing that I feel like God's telling me to do, this fast, and I was like, hey Lord, but is this you? Like just show me, like give me something that is it you? I don't want to do it if it's not you, like and I've been really busy this last like few weeks, and in it I was like, hey, I'm gonna do it, and every day instead of eating, I'm gonna study a chapter from the Bible. So I'm gonna literally eat his words, okay, not literally, but like metaphorically, and which is what fasting is. But I was like, okay, cool. I was like, okay, 7 days, 21. That's 21 meals, technically breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, what chapter has 21 chapter? What book has 21 chapters in it? And I saw there's one book in the Old Testament, and then I looked and there's one book in the New Testament, which is John, has 21 chapters. And I was like, okay, cool. like that doesn't really tell me, like it doesn't give me like, okay, go for it.
Mm.
Until in my Bible study thing that I'm doing this year, 52-week Bible study that I'm reading today, in the topic of flourishing in God's presence was this week's topic. And guess what book I started? It was the last day of the week, and it's start of I had to read John 1 and 2. And I felt like I didn't, like I saw it, but I didn't click until this morning. I was reading it and I was like, if you think of the odds of that, if you think of the odds of me wanting to do a 7-day fast and then, like something like that, which is so, and I'm like, oh, that's God. Okay, I heard you. But I listened. I heard it. Sorry, no, I heard it earlier. I heard it yesterday because I saw it, but it never actually hit me. I never actually heard the words, or I never understood it until I was reading and something clicked inside me and I was like, oh my word, he's speaking to me. And I just couldn't hear him, because I was so busy. I was so like trying to think until I sat down and was like, oh, okay. And I think that's it's so true, because that's how sometimes how life gets caught up in, and we hear it like God speaking. It's like you hear someone say ha, like, but you just don't click. You don't what's the word? There's a word for it. You don't, I can't remember what the word is, but you don't like actually click, like register. Yeah, you don't register, oh, that person's talking to me. Or how many times someone's walked past you and said hey, and you're kind of just, when you're busy or stressed, or so
and I think it's also like if you're going to that was not Englishing. There's such power in listening to God and to listen to his word. He literally has given you his word. He's given you a Bible. There's 66 books in the Bible. Listen to his word. Like if you are living for Christ, you need to listen to him. So there's so many, like this, the 10 Commandments, for example. If you're not listening to what he has told you to do, then like what is the point? Like yes, you can submit to God, you can give your life to God, you can be a follower of Christ, but with that comes listening. It's not just like, okay, I'm here, okay, I believe in Christ, I'm here. No, you actually have to listen to him. You have to go. He says, go out and make disciples of all the nations. Go listen to him. He says to follow his word, to do his works, and there's so many, like even in Proverbs, if you look at Proverbs, and the wisdom in Proverbs is insane. And a lot of the time it's literally, it talks about like, oh, okay, you're a foolish tongue or something. And literally it's so key to listen rather than just speak or act up first. And by listening to God's word, like everything is so much better. If you're listening to him, you're following him. So it's not even just like in a relationship on the earth. Listen to God, and like that's like, if you're not listening to him, how can he carry out the plans he has for your life? Like if he's telling you to go to like Namibia or wherever, and you're not listening, you're not going to go there. Then that plan is not going to happen. Like you actually have to listen, and maybe it will happen in the future, because obviously he has a plan for your life and he knows it. But like listen to what he's telling you, and a lot of the time he'll tell you through his word. So listen to his word. It's so powerful.
And just like remember, like we spoke about, God has so many voices. He doesn't just speak in one way. He is words. He is words. He is understanding, and so like don't be so shut off though that if you're like, oh my God, I'm reading my Bible and I just don't feel like he's telling me anything, or like, remember, can come from anywhere, because he has so many voices, and he knows you as well, which is so, like, I love it, the fact that he's so personal as well, and he makes an effort to be personal and not just be like, he'll do it in the way that he knows you understand it. And I was gonna say something else, but also the fact, like you were saying with wisdom, like wisdom and understanding go together. I see every time it says wisdom in the Bible, not every time, okay, fact check it, don't fact check it because it's not a fact, but I think it's in Proverbs. I've been reading a lot about it, and it'll be like, oh, the man who has wisdom has understanding, and they go hand in hand, and a lot of the times that I've read where I see wisdom, a few verses later understanding pops up, or the next line, like understanding pops up, and it's also listening kind of also goes with understanding, because it's like you got to listen, but you got to understand what you're listening to or hearing. But also like kind of kind of works with the surrender and the submitting in our video that we did the other day, of you got to listen to each other
Yeah.
as well, like, and not just like if you got a friend and your friend is like, oh, there's this person that I'm just not sure about, and they tell you, listen to that, hear that, because they're probably not getting that feeling for no reason. Like, hear it, and like you can still proceed with caution. It doesn't mean you have to like be like, oh my word, just because Sam said that she doesn't like that person or there's something off about that person, I'm gonna not talk to them again. No, just be cautious, be aware. You don't have to shut them off, just be aware about it. Like, and the same thing in a marriage and in a relationship. Listen to your husband, but he must also listen to you. And I'm not, when I say listen, I don't mean like command, because there's a difference
like I
between
told you
listening
this,
and
you have to do
command.
it. That's
Listening is done with grace and care, and commanding is done with harsh,
the intentions of being superior.
Yeah, and that's not what it is.
Yeah.
Because God's called us for different, women and man and woman, for different purposes. So you actually can't compare us, because it's like comparing a shark and a lion, who are completely different. Don't ask me why. Just those are the first two animals that came up to my head. But it's like the same thing. So when people are like, oh no, like the shark's better than the lion. Well, no, the shark can swim in the if the lion had to fall into the ocean, the shark would win. But if the shark had to somehow appear on land, I back the lion. And it's the same thing. Of like, you have
can't
different
compare
roles. If you think about it, it's like a man has been made physically stronger than women. So if you got into a fight, the man would win. Okay, so it's the same thing. But then in another sense, women have their nurturing abilities, which is God has called us to do. The man can't have that same effect on a child of that nurture. So it's like, stay in your lane, really. So don't compare the two, but listen to each other, because it's like even like in a group of people, you all have different strengths, most likely. Instead of fighting, of trying to who's going to lead or whatever it is, listen to one another and listen to their strengths, because Sam's strength might be organizing, and my strength might be gathering people. Okay, so instead of fighting over, or like, or getting jealous because she's doing something that I would wish I could be doing or something, rather be like, okay, let's work as a team. And you organize, and I'll get the people so you can organize, or not organize people, but you can organize the function, and I'll get the people to do that. Like, so work on each other's strengths and listen to one another. Don't shut each other off. Don't shut her idea off just because I'm like, oh no, there's a bit of bitterness or whatever, maybe jealousy in my heart. Like, listen to one another. Don't and again, it obviously works in all relationships, not just like friendships and relationships, not just relationships, but I think listening is a very powerful tool to have, and a good listener is
a good
leader. Amen to that. And I think we all have to be reminded sometimes to listen. I think we all get caught up with emotions take over, and you're like, no, like, stop, relax, and listen. That was like, stop,
drop, and roll.
Stop, relax, and listen.
And it's like, also, you listen to your body. If your body is tired, if your body is drained, then like, listen to your body. You can't expect to be fueled and on fire for Jesus and to go out and do his works if you are mentally damaged, if you're drained. You need to listen to your body, and God, he won't tell you to do this if he knows it's going to like mentally drain you, physically drain you. He won't drain you. God will fuel you. He'll fill you up. He's not going to drain you. Listen to your body. If you are like dying on the inside, if you are exhausted, if you like you just like every day is like so tiring, just listen to your body. Like, don't disregard that because no, I have to do this for God. I have to do this. God knows your intentions. He knows your hearts, and he'll call you to do what he knows you can do. He knows your capabilities of your human body. Like, we are not a God. We can't do everything God can do. We have a human body, and he knows that, and he'll call us to do what he knows we can do, and he will push you. It's not like you'll always be in comfort. I'm not saying that, because you must be out of your comfort zone. That's how you can grow. But you must listen to your body as well, and Like if you're in a situation and you're like, okay, no, something doesn't feel right. Like God has given us the Holy Spirit and discernment. If your body is telling you, if you have this voice in your head and like something's off, listen. Like don't just like disregard it. Or if God's saying, go and tell this person that I love them, go and listen. Listen to what He's telling you to do. Like there's such a power in listening as well. Not just being like, okay, but I don't want to do that. Like talking back to God or whatever, or to your body, being like, no, but I have to do this after this. Don't be the one who's like talking and trying to get the word, and actually listen to what it is, because there's such power in listening. And that's actually, you can't just talk. Like you can't be the person who's like even not just talking but just moving around, going around. Like you actually have to stop and you have to let your body rest. You have to let your body listen to its surroundings. Like just take a breath.
And God calls us to rest, like he says with the the Sunday is a day of rest, because it's like work, but then rest, and then work 6 days again, rest, work 6 days again. Like He's called us to rest, and some resting can be hard. It can be, but it's such a vital thing, and it's such a, because it's going to get you. It's what's going to sustain you. Rest is what sustains you, and if you don't rest and you don't listen to God when to rest, you're gonna burn out and fall short. I mean, we already fall short, so why add to it by not listening to Him? And it's like that thing of like you said with your body, and like with athletes, like if you're like, oh, sometimes I know you get into that mood when you're training for something. I almost dropped it. You're training for something and you want to push. You're like, I'm not doing enough. Like I want to push, and it ends up causing you to. You're most likely going to get injured, and then you're going to be out for a season. Opposed to actually taking that one day of rest, which is such a minuscule amount to what's to come, but it's what refuels you, and in that day of rest, or in that time of rest, listen and hear God's voice. And something when you're saying that is like the discerning in John 2, it says here in verse 23 to 25, and the little heading in my Bible says the discerner of hearts. And it says, now when He was in Jerusalem at the Passover during the feast, many believed in His name when they saw the signs which He did. But Jesus did not commit Himself to them, because He knew all men, and had no need that anyone should testify of man, for He knew what was in man. So everyone, it says here, during the feast, many believed in His name when they saw what He was doing. But Jesus did not commit Himself to them. He did not commit Himself to what the signs that He was doing. He committed Himself to God. But He knew that, because He knew what was capable, what men do. And He knew that He needed to commit Himself to God and keep His eyes on God, rather than I've just lost my track of thought completely. Completely just lost my track of thought. I had it.
Still a power verse.
Still for power verse. But I think it's just more the discerning of hearts, of knowing He knew what men were capable of. So He, that's why He didn't commit Himself to them.
Yeah.
Because He knew men, because he was a man as well. And He knew a man's heart, because He'd experienced a man's heart, what it was like. But anyway, that's listening, and listening is a very important thing.
So we hope you enjoyed listening to this. That was such a bad pun.
I know, we love it. But
just take a break sometimes and
listen. Step back and listen. Stop, rest, and listen.
But
thank you so much for listening, as Sam said. And we'll see you next week. Bye.